Alright everybody, welcome back to Brain Rot. Today we are following up our last two videos with our Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie review. So, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. As a FNAF fan, I would say that. I would say so.
I mean, yeah, like it was better than the first one. I thought it was like, a lot more scarier and a lot more brutal with the kills. I was kind of surprised I didn't have like as many kills though, like a little bit disappointing.
I mean, they had like a decent sized kill list. I'm not gonna lie, they had a few people get murked out there. Apparently,
I mean, yeah, but that was
Also,
like
are
over
we doing
five.
spoilers or no spoilers?
I think we should do spoilers.
Yeah, I think spoilers. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
Alright,
I'll
spoiler
just
warning
slap
right
a
now,
spoiler warning at the front of the video.
No, just put it right now because we didn't say anything crazy yet.
Alright, well, I mean, it's probably gonna be the title too, so like, it doesn't really matter.
So should we just like recap the entire movie and just like, or just go over like our favorite bits?
Oh, I would say just like, point out what's good, point out what's bad, point out our favorite bits, because it's not a recap, it's just like a review. Like, I'm a FNAF fan, I'm fairly easy to please. I thought not everything about the movie. I thought like all the bits with the animatronics were good. We are FNAF, absolute
You're a
cinema.
FNAF what?
I'm a FNAF fan.
Nice.
As a FNAF movie, it was pretty good, but I do wish certain things were better. Like, for example, the Wizards, I feel like they were severely underused. Like you guys were pointing out, or I think it was you pointing out, Nick said that there was a decent amount of kills, and there were, but I was trying to count it out in my head, and I think there's actually less kills than the first movie. I think it's only one less kill, but still, for having twice as many. Honestly,
I think the first movie had like 7 kills or something like that, or 6, and like this one only had like 5.
There was the night guard. There was the 4 burglars, right? Was it 4 burglars that broke into Freddy's? There was the
Yeah, it was 4
babysitter, her
burglars.
brother.
Yeah, it was 4.
Yeah, 4. Okay, so then that's already 5 right there, and then William is 6. And are we missing anybody? Aunt Jane didn't die, so
Yeah. In the next movie, they revealed that Aunt Jane is actually like in the nut house because she claimed to have seen like a yellow bear to knock her out. So
she's in the asylum.
yeah, with the drunkler. Anyway, so
Did you? Are you good? But I thought my internet cut out for a second, but I was like, y'all still here, so like maybe someone came into his room and so he like had to meet up real quick. I'll just give him a second. Oh yeah, actually, wait, you haven't said your piece. What's
no. Sorry. My mic was being a little bit buggy.
All right, keep going.
But yeah, this movie takes place like I think like a year after the very first one.
It's like a year or two. Depending on the source, it's different.
Yeah, like time has passed by from like the first movie, obviously, because it's a fucking sequel, right? We see Mike trying to move on like with like his relationship with like Vanessa. He's trying to like take her out to dinner. Abby's just like bragging about like the events about what happened in the first movie. Of course, she doesn't know any better. But Mike is an interesting character. This in this sequel. Like he's coming off very reasonable for like his actions and stuff, but like I feel like in the writing terms, like his character was like overdone just like a little bit. In this movie, we see Mike trying to like help Vanessa like try and move on and like move past like the stuff that happened in the last movie, like about her father dying, quite literally dying, and her being in a coma, and Mike is like trying to like help her, like trying to like move on, and at one point he even says like he wants to fix her, which is like absolutely completely fucking wild for him to say while they're at dinner.
He really was living the I can fix her ass life, bro. What are we talking about?
No, Mike was completely on another level. I wouldn't say in a good way, but it wasn't like the worst writing in the world for his character and whatnot. But
Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes sense for the context, except for like him trying to tell her to move on from her trauma that she had from her childhood. Um, Vanessa's pretty much like the same. She's trying to atone for her sins in like the beginning of this movie, where she's actually one of Charlotte's friends. And in the beginning of the movie, it starts off with Charlotte dying, her being killed by Afton, and then possessing the puppet. It just goes to show like how much like guilt she has from like all the stuff that's happened like throughout the Fazbear franchise. So you can understand like why it's kind of fucking hard for her to move on when she was almost quite literally responsible for a lot of the terrible things that happened there. You guys have anything else?
A few things. So one, I think a lot of the writing with Mike, it just suffers from Scott being the sole writer, and that's not any diss against Scott Cawthon's writing, but I do think that that there definitely needs to be at least one more writer on the third movie, at least to like clean up like certain dialogue and certain story beats, because you could kind of tell that it was just him in this for this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. To chime in on that, I
Mhm.
think that I don't know why the guy's name's Mike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mike, I feel like they super undercut his writing on this movie, because if you watch the first one and you see that like he's all like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be like a better parent, I'm gonna be like a better person for my younger sister, and then all throughout this movie he's pretty much just dumping her onto other people. So it's like it felt like it wasn't no real character development with his relationship with her, other than him just being like slightly there more. And it was just kind of like moments like that where it was just like, oh, like that's kind of stupid. Oh, you're gonna leave your little sister who thinks that the animatronics is her friends by herself, and she's not gonna try to do like that. A lot of those things just like, yo, this is really dumb for a character who literally just went through all that crazy stuff on the first movie. It felt like a lot of breakneck, like random decision making on his part, and it just
Yeah,
it didn't feel right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Plus, there was no like, I don't know, it was rarely build up for things. Like I felt like things were just happening sometimes.
I definitely feel like there was definitely a lot of moments throughout the movie where it should have been a lot more fleshed out with more dialogue and like more explanation, like why things are the way that they are. I know the games are very vague, and like that's like one of the biggest attractions for the FNAF games is that like there's lots of secrets, and like you're trying to figure out like what kind of story beat is affecting this other thing in the story, and like that's part of the fun. But it's a bit different when it's like an actual movie and like you're trying to figure out, I don't know, like an example off the top of my head, like why things happen that they happen.
Yeah, or at least like introduce weird ideas in a way where you're all like, okay, I want to have the answer to this, and not just like oh, this happened because that happened, and then it's just like a minute, like, all right, there's full spoilers ahead, of course, it's already up there. At the ending, when like the thing that I was confused about was the other animatronics fighting the evil ones, and also being able to get from the original spot all the way to Mike's new house. First off, I don't know how they would even know where his new house is, or is that his old house and they just renovating their stuff? I thought that was a new house.
I think they said it was a new house.
Yeah, it
It
was
is
a new house. Like, how would they even know where he lives? Also, how would they survive long enough for them to like beat up the evil ones or whatever? Like, I was confused on that because I'm just like, okay, now we're just having like a battle royale right now, and yeah.
Right, because it is mentioned earlier that like the animatronics like quite literally fucking die. right? They power off because like they can't be out from like their power stations for too long because they run out of battery. How is it possible that they are able to travel like miles and miles away across town to some random house and have enough strength and power just to like fight other animatronics? Like
Also,
I
the
get it's
other
for the
animatronics
story.
didn't fight back. Sorry, my bad.
The other
I just thought about
animatronics,
that.
they did not fight back.
They didn't
Like,
do anything. That kind of bothered me too, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah. Sorry. What you
No,
said?
no.
My bad.
No, you're good. Like I get like it's part of the story, but I just feel like the ending of like the animatronics fighting each other was just like a little bit like in retrospect, like I think it's fine, but at the same time, I'm allowed to criticize something that like I consider just to be fine. It is dumb, like when you're trying to explain it to someone else. It is weird. It doesn't feel like, I guess, satisfying is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't feel like a satisfying like climax. Like at the end of the first one, it felt more grounded because William Afton was like in an actual like animatronic suit that eventually killed him, and he was like, you know, actively like a fucking problem. He was tossing Mike around saying that he's gonna kill him, like how he killed his brother, just mad shit talking. But like, you know, in the climax you have the character Abby floating around as like a possessed puppet, and then you get to see like the animatronics fighting each other. Like this is like Avengers Endgame, and then Michael Afton just shows up out of nowhere. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna finish my father's work.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
he might have actually been the worst written character in that movie, but
it's we'll get to that later. And
Yeah.
then like he just books it out, and then he just gets knocked out, well, for a bit, by Mike's security guard friend from the first movie. It just felt all over the place. At the same time though, like for how stupid like and weird the movie was, I still like it for what it is, because it's honestly a miracle that we were even able to get a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. So it doesn't bother me too much, but at the same time, I'm still allowed to criticize it.
There's something you guys said earlier, and actually you guys made a lot of points that I wish I just like had a notepad with me to jot down points. But there's only one of them is really important to like the discussion. You guys were talking about how like in the movie there's a lot of things where like things just happen. They're not really explained. And that kind of sums up, not sums up, but kind of puts into more detail what I meant when like you can kind of tell that Scott was the sole writer on the movie, because it like you said, it's written like a FNAF game. Things are sprinkled in, but they're not like telegraphed to you. You kind of have to figure that out on your own. And like you said, like it's a movie, it's a different medium. You can't take the same approach. Which is why I was saying that I hope that there's more writers for the third movie, because like you were saying, like you enjoy it for what it is. I still think that even people you probably heard like people are saying that this movie's not for critics, it's for the fans. 100% yes, but that doesn't mean that we should get a subpar movie as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. I guess I'm kind of critics on this standpoint. I thought the movie was awful, but
You don't like any movie?
I also enjoyed it.
Like
No, it's not that I don't like any movie. It's just that like, do you watch horror movies? That's a better question, because if you're taking it as a horror movie, it's not good.
I don't really watch horror movies, but yes, I do agree with you that like as a horror movie, the FNAF movies aren't really there. Like they did amp up the horror on this one, but it's still kind of
I got a question though for
it was just kind of loud noises and then boom in your face. Like I don't know, they didn't really like get creative or anything.
I need to ask you, have you ever seen The Purge?
Yeah. Shut up.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, shut up.
Anyway, yeah.
Actually, on that point about like horror movies and stuff, one thing that I don't think the FNAF movies have really leaned into is like psychological horror, because the games kind of are a little bit of that, because it's more like, you're stuck in a for the most part you're stuck in a room, and we kind of saw this a little bit with FNAF 2, and I felt it a little bit there, just with the anticipation of the animatronics constantly sneaking up, not really sneaking up on Mike, but them getting way too close for comfort. I kind of hope they do something like that with FNAF 3, just like, they make sure that the tension is always there, because there's not really a lot of that in these movies.
Yeah.
I'm hoping though. I have really high hopes for the third movie though, because I know one of the biggest rules for Five Nights at Freddy's that came from Scott Cawthon is that like it's important to keep the innocence of like the souls of like the children inside of the animatronics. They aren't just complete murderers. They are scared children that are scared of like adults because an adult took their life, and that's why they're like so murderous.
I
Right?
think
And
movie
I think
Charlotte
it was
would beg to
Dacos.
differ.
Movie Charlotte would beg to differ, right? Movie Charlotte was like trying to catch bodies, but at least for the original like four in the first movie, and this was probably said in like Daco's interview with Scott Cawthon. It's very important that you keep that in mind for the innocence of the children, and which I kind of get is probably why there wasn't as many murders in this movie. At the same time, though, it's a horror movie. You gotta at least have some kills to try and keep it scary.
The
Which
thing
is
is,
like,
though, sorry to cut you off, but the thing is, though, is that there was only Charlotte in this movie that was possessed, and like you said, preserving the innocence of the children. But the thing is that Charlotte in this movie was a very vengeful spirit. We could have gotten that with no caveats or no there's a word that I'm looking for that I don't know, but like we could have gotten it and it wouldn't really.
plastered on the top right here.
I'm not even gonna remember the word later, but
Yeah.
like the whole point was that Charlotte was mad at the wrong people, and so we could have gotten a lot more kills. It's just we just weren't, or we just didn't. Like with the first movie, sure, I can understand that, because these children aren't angry, they're just confused, they're scared, they're not as aware as the puppet is. Yeah, I'm just saying they should have pushed it a little bit more for this one.
Which is going to lead me to my next point, right? Since in the third movie, it's very obvious that Springtrap is going to be the main antagonist / villain. William Afton, he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a grown-ass man that found immortality by being entrapped inside of an animatronic suit. He's become immortalized now. He's a fucking killer. I'm expecting for the main villain of the franchise to drop fucking bodies in the next movie. I'm gonna be a little bit upset, and I'm gonna be a little bit more harsh on the third movie if I don't see more deaths, because this is an actual villain for the franchise. I understand why like the animatronics didn't kill, because like, again, the innocence of the kids, they don't know what they're doing, they're little kids, right? They're scared. But I'm just saying, for me personally, like, make it a horror movie for the third one.
You think they'll do full R for movie 3?
I doubt it, but at the same time, like, there's lots of PG-13 movies out there that really push their rating to its max and still make it like enjoyable for like adults to watch if they want like bloody like gore movies, yeah, like slashers. Like, this isn't like a horror movie by any chance, but like I remember distinctly when I was watching The Batman, that movie really pushed its PG-13 rating, and it did pretty good job.
Yeah,
it did. I liked it. So if it did something like along that kind of level of like pushing its rating, I'll be happy with it. It doesn't have to be an R-rated movie, right? FNAF 3. Would I like that? Of course I would. But it's not. It's not gonna it's not gonna upset me too much if I find out that it's PG-13. It's not gonna be the end of the world.
Hot take. I don't think that killing people is gonna make it a horror movie. I think that they just need to start building tension because there was like a lack of tension in both of these movies so far, where like either they're building some tension and then like it ends up just being like a joke or something, or it's like a little quick death. I feel like they can strip back a lot of the explanation to just focus on the actual like actions that's happening on screen. You know what I mean? And
yeah, sorry.
I don't think we talked about this yet, but the pacing was really bad.
Yeah.
There were a lot of moments where I was sitting there and I'm just like, yeah, that's a very interesting concept, and then it never gets revisited, and then there's like, oh, this part is really stupid, and then we spend like a ungodly amount of time on those type of topics, where it was just like, it was cool to see Vanessa and Mike go on a little date and getting romancing, but do we need to have like a full 15-minute like fucking Disney Channel movie of him gaslighting her? Probably not. Like, they could have just kept that short and sweet, but we had it. It's okay. Did we need to have like, the people that got murdered like towards the first beginning of the movie, when like the character that we haven't talked about yet, her brother, which we'll get into that pretty soon.
Oh, like the ghost hunters?
Yeah, the ghost hunters. If they were gonna kill them like that, I would have liked them to not focus on them that much and gave us a little bit more time with her brother, because he came up, he showed up, everybody was like, oh my god, hyping him up, and then he was gone for like half of the movie, and then he came back at the end, which bothered me because I'm just like, okay, like I get we trying to like get off some scares right now, but I don't know this character. Like, explain it to me as a person who's never watched or played the games. And like I felt like they just kind of cooked him. Like I couldn't even take him seriously as a villain, because it was virtually no build up for him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, he literally was just a guy who showed up and then he got cooked, and I was just like, oh no, the other Michael. And that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? Like, I looked around like, am I supposed to be scared? And then like everybody was hyped up, but I didn't get it. Like, he was just a dude.
I think the reason why everyone was like so hyped up, because like, at the end of the day, like, this is like an adaptation from like the the games and like the books, so they're excited for the character. But like I can understand like why, like from an outside perspective, like it wouldn't be as exciting, because like it's just like some random character. Like, for some like let's say like they're adapting like Harry Potter, right? Back then, people who read the books, they would like understand like, oh my gosh, like they mentioned like Voldemort or something, right? People who read the books, they'd be more hyped, but like people watching, they'd be like, oh, it's just like another character.
Oh,
It's
he's
like
that important, like as a villain?
I wouldn't say as important, that's just like a generic example, as like
Okay.
as like for the audience.
Yeah,
I would say that
that
he is an important character, like in the stories and like in the books and in the games. But this is again a different adaptation. He's different. He's a different character than what he is like from the books and games. Almost a lot different. Almost to circle back to like what you said earlier. Like, I do agree. Like, I don't think lots of kills and murders for like the third movie would be like would make the movie better. I do agree. Like, it does need more tension, and I thought we were gonna get like a payoff for the tension, like in the second movie, because throughout the trailers, like they're mentioning like, oh, we need to stop these animatronics, because like if not, like everyone's gonna be dead by morning, like everyone in the town. And like quite literally, like one teacher got killed off in like the school, and like that's it, like one dude,
just for kind of being a dick, which like I get it, I guess,
I get it,
but
right, I get it, but at the same time, like, you couldn't get like one more like person just like out of the blue. Like,
he literally didn't do anything to her personally. That's why I was all like, when I seen that scene, like it was cool, because I was just like, oh man, they really building up tension for this. Maybe it's also like a thing where I think me and Phoenix had a conversation about this. Like, I'm not necessarily scared of like Freddy in them, right? I don't think they're supposed to be scary, but in the game, you are set in one stationary place. There is way easier to build up tension. That's why when like the certain scene towards the end when Mike was actually at the chair and it was what's the name, I'm just like, all right, bet. We've been waiting on this since the first movie. They're finally gonna have the first person POV. They're gonna have the animatronics coming out from both of the directions. He gonna be doing it, and then when they like tried it for like 2 seconds and they just stopped. And at that moment, I was just like, all right, whatever. They gave up. Like,
I think
they had the formula. They had it. It was right there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the movie works.
I think that's something me and Phoenix like mentioned afterwards the movie, like, you know, the withered animatronics, they didn't have that much screen time in the movie, and it would have been nice to like have it more fleshed out. But I do get what you mean though, like it would have been nice if it would have had like a game POV. This is not at all like kind of related, but I kind of would have liked something similar to, again, this is a weird comparison, to John Wick Chapter 4, where spoilers, he gets a hold of like the dragon's breath guns, and it has like this interesting like amazing camera shot where it's like shooting from above, and like you see John Wick just going room from room shooting all these people, and it looks like something out of a video game. I would have liked something like that where like it was like from a POV for Mike, where he's like seeing like, you know, different animatronics from like his POV, not just from like, you know, like down the hall looking into the office, but just from like him looking outward into the unknown, because you are with the audience, the audience are with Mike looking around, because you, the audience, and him don't know where they are. That's just like what I would have preferred. I agree with you there, like it should have been, you know, fleshed out a little bit longer, but that's all I have to say for that.
It was like a 3-second bit or something like that. Like it visibly pissed me off. Also, I don't know if it's just me. I feel like they didn't have much for Mike to do on this movie, because they were trying to flesh out Vanessa to be like the big bad for the next movie. I feel like Mike didn't have that much screen time to actually be like a character. I felt like he was just like the vehicle that we were seeing things from, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like he was his own character who had an arc that this movie. He was just kind of like an entity. And then he just like randomly stumbled into information every once in a while so we can catch up with like everything else that's going on. So it was just kind of like, I don't know. Like 1 minute he was all Vanessa, dick riding, and then he got some information, did a little bit of research, abandoned his fucking daughter basically, and then we didn't see him for a hot minute. Vanessa, and then back to him. Oh, we're helping, I guess. Back to Vanessa. It was just kind of like, it was a lot of hopping on characters for, I feel like it wasn't, I don't know, nobody got fleshed out enough. Other than like, I guess Vanessa, but like, I don't even know if she did either. Like, I don't know. I might be tripping though. I might be tripping.
I don't know, like, and that kind of gets me wondering, like, are we going to talk about that in this review, like the potential like next, I guess, villain for the Five Nights at Freddy's like franchise? Because I know the actor Matthew Lillard was like only signed on for being in 3 movies, so I'm assuming that he's probably gonna die or like get killed off in like the 3rd movie, or like, you know, maybe they can just like bring him on for like another contract, whatever. But they did kind of tease Vanessa to be like the next villain. I wanted to ask you, Phoenix, what are your thoughts on that? Like, where do you think they're gonna take Vanessa's character in the next movie?
Wait. I feel like this would be a good second video. Let's just stop this right here. Okay, last thoughts. What do you guys think about the movie? Good, bad? If you had to give it a number between 1 and har, what would you give it?
How many hars would you har?
I give it
how many hars?
an 8 out of 7.
Hars or just an 8 out of 7?
An 8 out of 7 bites.
Okay. What about you, Mario?
I would agree with Phoenix there, an 8 out of the 7 bites out of hars.
For being a pretty campy movie, I'll give it like a 6 Hars
Out of
out of 10.
6 out of 10. That's not. That's actually
As someone
you know,
who really
I-
enjoyed the movie, I believe that is a perfectly valid score.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
kind
for
of
a person who don't know the movie,
I'm kind of surprised you gave it such a high rating. Like, you know, for someone, you know, who's like a, I wouldn't say you're like a movie slob, but like, you know your movies.
nah,
And for someone who doesn't know that much about FNAF, good rating.
yeah. I mean, it's also. I feel like it was because I was in a group of people who knew the lore, and then like all the people that were there were all fans of the same thing. So it was kind of like it was also a viewing experience thing too, where it just felt like a really cool thing to be a part of. You know what I mean?
It was like
It wasn't
Endgame,
necessarily
but for
the
weird
movie.
people.
Yeah, it was literally just a movie for weird people. It was like the same feeling that I had when we watched Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was sick.
Something I'll say to like everyone who's here watching, if you can, or you know, it's kind of too late already because like you know they're probably gonna go to digital right now soon, or at least that's what I heard. But for the next movie, I recommend all of you to try and watch the next FNAF movie opening night, because it is truly an experience to just like go into a theater full of other FNAF fans, all enjoying like the same kind of like fandom that you've all like grew up on, and seeing it on the big screen. That's like the best kind of experience that you can have for like this kind of movie, because it is made for the fans.
Yeah, it's made to be watched with a bunch of people. Make sure you have friends with you too, or like if you watch it alone, just I don't know, fucking
Like-
kill you. Never mind. Never mind.
This is how we end up with kids in robot suits.
Yeah, I mean that'd be kind of cool though.
Being a robot.
Like,
I
yeah,
mean,
Thank you all so much for watching.
yeah.
This was-
Thanks. All right, have a.
Y'all have a
Yep.
good rest of your night.
All right,
Fucking
appreciate you. You
amazing.
know what I mean?
We'll
We're
catch
out
you
of
later,
here.
Brainiacs.
Yeah.
Peace out. This is the Brain Rot Show.